Now this project that I've been working on, oh my goodness, is it awesome, but also very time consuming. It is taking a ton of time just to get the logistics set up to be able to form this, because for each autocraft that I'm working on, it requires its own module, requires its own setup, and also a few manipulations here or there, especially if I mess up a recipe. For example, last episode, I did end up crafting a lot of things in the crafter when they could have just been crafted with a mixer. So anything that is a shapeless recipe, stuff that doesn't have to be specifically placed in a certain way, well, it can actually be crafted inside the mixer. So for example, I can actually make the cogs and stuff much faster. And I also messed up my andesite alloy, which I think was a little bit of an oversight, but I now have andesite alloy running through the slabs channel here to be crafted up. I just added a little filter on here to make sure it can craft only slabs and also the shafts. So now we have shafts being produced. It actually gives us a little bit more. We essentially get 12 for the price of 2 andesite alloy, where we would normally, when crafting, only get 8. And it also speeds up the, recipe crafting significantly, because I can send higher quantity batches to be able to be made. For example, I can do 4 to get 24 out of here, and same for these. I can send like 4, which is a pretty good number at this particular speed to send our batches. So today, when we're working on this mall, there's a lot more that I'm going to need to work on. As you can see behind me, I've started to, well, go up a level. That's right, this is going to be multi-layered. It's a mall after all. Well, more or less, it is going to be a place where you can pull up and, well, shop around and buy, hopefully, buy all of the products that you see that we are going to make. And of course, even if my server mates don't plan on actually buying anything, I mean, I will have all of those resources for building anything I want in the future. Now, I did decide to branch off the center, and this right here allows our one frog port that we're currently using to get the product to that level quickly, because it's smart enough to send it onto the cable line. It will then route itself around and then route itself up. It is very smart and efficient, so it won't do some weird things where it takes the package, sends it all the way over here and wraps back around and then sends it up. We want to make sure that the actual splitting hub is as close to the send main frog port as possible, or at least that's my idea, and I think it's going to work out really well. Now, the reason why I need to go up a level like this is so that way I have more room for the machines. I have a design in mind for how these are going to overall look, and how these are going to be viewed from the outside, because this is planned on being like a walking area so you can actually see the stuff going on inside. But yes, I want to be able to have other things crafted up. For example, we are going to need to get iron into iron sheets for other crafting materials so we can keep those in stock. We're also going to need just iron ingots in general for the iron sheets, right? And I think that this will be a pretty decent amount of space up here to be able to handle some of those things. There's also other processes that we're going to need to have take place. For example, I would love to have precision mechanism handling happening up here. Like, all of that would be really nice to have up and running. Now, this beautiful thing up here, oh, this looks so good. Okay, so it's all coming together now. Up top here, I basically used very similar things that we did last episode. The frog port, main input going into the basin, gets pressed. This is going to compact iron nuggets. Then it goes into the main input barrel. Then over here, we have a flipped inversion of this, but this is just a regular press. And yeah, presses can actually press right through a funnel. So this is about as compact as you can get that still utilizes a belt. And this right here is just for anything, and I mean anything that needs to be pressed. These are more universal, not as specific as the ones that we are using downstairs. So this right here can now compress ingots, gold and iron, which are now being produced inside of our main system, and turn into actual usable ingots. And there should only be enough in here to do the actual compacting. I might have to add a list filter just to make sure that it compacts the way I want it to, but I mean, honestly, it should work really well. And then this side, like I said, for the actual plates. Now, I did mention how I wanted to be able to use things like our excess gold after it is turned into ingots, to use that and all of the other stuff that we're making to then produce precision mechanisms, and only keep like a certain amount of precision mechanisms in stock. This is where things are going to get really cool. Now that we have like gold, for example, that is going to be building up as we use more things because of the nature of the soul sand and the good old quartz production is going, I think this is going to work out really, really well. Okay, so here is the precision mechanism plan. I am going to be using the tried and true method of sending it and looping it through a vault. It's actually really easy to do this. We're going to have a main input barrel that is going to be on this side. You can, of course, flip this in any direction, but our direction on this side just happens to be flowing downward. So it's going to flow this way. And then down here is actually going to be where we're going to send this back into the system. And this is going to send whether it is a precision mechanism or anything. So if it fails, then of course it is going to be on a timeout system. So if it, takes longer than a minute to be received, it will then try to send another request. And I think that's the beauty of the whole promise system and percentage-based crafting, which precision mechanisms are. There's like an 80% chance of success. The other will just produce a byproduct, and that byproduct could be a usable product for this whole loop system that we're working on right now. So we should end up, with basically just another thing going back in, even if it does fail. So now to get the vault in, and I know I'm talking so much, but I should be actually just showing how I'm setting this all up. But this is essentially going to send the item from here out, and that can be done with a regular funnel. No big deal here. Now on here, it's going to run through this line, and then right here on this item vault, we're going to have to use a brass funnel. This one's actually going to be very specific. It has to be brass because this is the one that has to be filtered. Then over here, we want the items to just loop back around until it is completed. And then once it is, then it won't go through here, and it'll end up right here on a lovely depot. So this one actually can just use a regular andesite. We just got to make sure that it is facing outwards on the loop. And so what should only happen here, items go through, they go in, they go out, and they just keep looping and looping till they're done. And when they're done, whether it was a successful one or not, will go on the depot, and voila, we'll just simply slap on another funnel here. And that's just going to pick the items up, and then we're going to send whatever it is back into the storage. Now, the thing that we actually need to filter here is an incomplete precision mechanism. So just basically need to have a precision mechanism that has crafted at least once, done at least one operation, and then loop that back around, which we can do here in a second once we get some power to this. Now with some power on the system, it's going to be small cog, then large cog, and then the iron nuggets. And this is nice to go ahead and program on here, even if we're not really going to need to worry about it, because we're going to have an inventory up here anyways that the frogs are going to be interacting with. And that's going to be sort of the goal, is to make sure that our frogs can send and receive those items and keep them constantly in stock inside of the deployer's inventory, which is going to be kind of an interesting process. But anyways, that's besides the point. Let's go ahead and get this going. So we'll have small cog, large cog, put it in its hand, and then we just got to send one loop around, and that has gone inside of the item vault, right? And it should have gotten spit back out the other side from the brass funnel. Hello? It's not even showing there's an item in here. Where did the item even go? Oh, interesting. It ended up right there for some reason. I mean, this should send the item back out onto the belt, no problem whatsoever. Oh, it sat it right here because it was waiting on the goal, but it doesn't like send it directly out. It just holds it slightly underneath the belt now. Okay, so yeah, that's something I've noticed. But this is the item we need, an incomplete precision mechanism. And if you didn't notice, or if you didn't know this, it is pretty cool the way that these precision mechanisms work in any recipe that requires a sequenced assembly. Because when you're building a recipe for something like this, the cool thing is this is actually its own separate item. When it's in this state, each of these progresses too can also have their own individual item for this particular recipe. So they may be hidden in JEI where you can't see them, but they are technically like their own item and own texture for each of those operations, or can be for each of the operations. And so that's why we can actually filter this item as its own, and it will loop through constantly. And then once it's finished, it will be rejected when it does switch to the final precision mechanism, because it's no longer a incomplete precision mechanism item. Now I want to constantly supply the precision mechanism machine, whether I do them manually by coming up here and doing this, or I let it actually auto-craft them. I want it to constantly keep what I have in stock here inside of here, but I don't know can the packagers and frog like interact with the inventory of the deployer and only keep a stack constantly inside of these deployers? I mean, that's going to be up to something I kind of test. Otherwise, I might have some problems. I think the frog port here is just high enough, yeah, that it actually reaches. But man, we are pushing it. Like outside of that, we would have to use like maybe a hopper that goes into here and then have it one lower, even though no, the packager would still have to be this high. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to go with this for right now, and this is going to have to be labeled, and we're going to call this a small cog. Yeah, because that's what we're going to be sending here. So after making that connection, what I can do is I can copy this, and yeah, then we can go ahead and use a factory gauge. I thought I had a few on me. Okay, here we go. And this does need to be linked to the network that we plan on pulling the items out of. And I'm just going to set it up to keep it in stock. And I really hope this works. And I really hope that it can just go ahead and see how many exist in here. So cogs, because I know this can technically have more than one inventory. We just want it to be set to this address, small cogs, what we want it to send to. And we just want it to keep one in stock. And so it should do a request for one in stock. This shouldn't take very long. And voila, it now has one in stock, and it should stay this way. And should always keep one in stock and shouldn't request anymore. Okay, perfect. Now I've just got to repeat for the other two. And I almost forgot to prefix and suffix these. I'm actually going to set these, since we might end up using and keeping in stock iron nuggets on other machines, instead of just leaving it like this, I'm actually going to prefix it with precision mechanism, so PM underscore, just to make sure we have those things defined here. And this will hopefully future-proof our design. Oh man, there's a snowstorm that just brewed up. I really need to get a building on this sooner than later, but I did want to show this right here. This is kind of cool. You can get all of your stuff set in, and you can still organize this without interrupting anything. You just go in here and you go, I want to move this gauge, and you choose where you want to move it to, and things will just automatically change their orientation and change their connections based upon where you actually move it. So very, very cool, and I think that's a really neat feature, allowing you to move these. Very similar to how you can technically move stock links by making sure you bind another one and then click its new location and place it on there, and then it'll relink. That's another really cool thing. And just in time too, because I want to add a new connection here, and this is going to be for iron ingots. Now I know I'm already producing iron ingots down at the other factory, and that might be able to get tied into in here in the future, but I really want this to kind of work as its own singular setup. And so far, I mean, this is turning out awesome. Now, my compressor is up here, not an air compressor, or to be confused with that. So I'm going to copy the address. And man, at this point, I think you guys probably get it, how the whole thing works. But yes, we have to add this to here. That recipe is now added, and we know that it is exactly 921. 9 of those being sent, we'll then press up that amount. So as soon as this is ready, we can go ahead and say, hey, just keep a stack of iron in stock at all times. Just send it around. It goes up and goes into the press. If all is well, that one setup should make its way back after getting pressed up. Oh, and we should now have iron ingots actually building up inside here. And I also want to do the same thing for the gold. Wait. There might be a bit of a problem. I have things. Okay, when this happens, by the way, and I have a failure, what I got to do is turn this off for right now, clear out the promises, because that is what those are right there, are the promises, and then figure out exactly and troubleshoot where did this go wrong. What is actually happening? Because there's the ingots here. Is it because I didn't define main? Okay, so it is doing the press. It's because I didn't define main underscore in underscore CA. Perfect. So now that those are defined, I can turn this back on after figuring out the problem. And I don't know, just this system is pretty darn cool. Like it's not that crazy at all. So now I'll put those back in there. Those will get repackaged and sent. directly into main, and I can now sleep through the snowstorm. And by the way, with these farther away recipes, you can set these to higher quantities. So if we take 9 times 4 to set this up for 4 ingots, we know that this needs to be roughly 36 that it needs to send. That exact amount, not roughly. So 36 to make 4 of those ingots. And this will be a much faster compacting recipe because it will be able to do all of them in one go. And now for the gold, basically the same thing, but I'm only going to set this to 1 because it's only going to be produced every now and then. And it'll only be able to keep that in stock as we actually have the nuggets that get produced anyways. But those will be constantly requesting if it has the ability to request it. And then for the sheets, these are getting set to the pressing side of the other factory. And yeah, with this, we just need to set it to keep a certain amount in stock. For right now, I'm going to set it to just simply keep 1 stack in stock. And what I'm hoping is with both of these running, it's not going to run into any sort of issues, especially when it runs into the pressing system over here. Like, just in case... Yeah, I don't think it ever will because we're using the 1 frog. So I think this is working out really, really well. Yeah, there it goes. We can see all of it pressing, doing the things it needs to do. When it receives the pulse, it'll then send it all back in 1 package, back into main. And yeah, we should see all of those ready to go. Oh, this is working so good. And so this means now I can add a precision mechanism recipe. Oh, this is great. And let's go ahead and grab the precision mechanism. We'll drag it on in. And this recipe, the only thing it needs to be linked to is just simply 1 gold sheet. And this is another thing that's going to have to be set on a promise expire because it is a percentage-based output. So just make sure that is defined. And then we just got to set our frog ports and we are ready to rock and roll. And so the precision mechanism CA is defined. And then over here, we just have to place this in and it's ready to go. We can go ahead and request and say, hey, just go ahead and keep 16 in stock. I know we don't have enough sheets for it just yet. I can always throw my own gold in here too to have them be made up. And yeah, because of that request, the precision mechanisms are going to now be made up, and we're going to be able to see this whole thing in progress here. Oh, that was a failure. There's a new one. Come on, give me a solid one. And there we go. There's a successful one, and then it gets sent back around, and we now have literally precision mechanisms passively automated. Oh, this is absolutely wild. This whole mall is going to be so good. Now, one problem I have found is that it is better to have it set up to keep like 32, for example, items in stock, not stacks, for inventories that only have 1 inventory slot. Because what it's doing right now is it is sending constant requests for some reason, even if there's no room. And you can see that these packages are building up. And these are actually the cogs. I mean, but this is really, really cool, honestly. Like the fact that all of this is just being produced from this 1 cobblestone farm is just ridiculous. Well, but that besides the wood, which I do want to get set up, but I think the actual wood process is going to be stored inside of a vault over here, and then we're going to manage all of the items inside of this vault. This vault is also going to contain some other items. We're going to have other vaults in here that are also going to be linked into this same system. This is going to be pretty cool, actually. And I think getting items here is going to be possibly done with trains and stuff like that. It's going to be really cool. I mean, we have to get kelp if we want to have a constant supply, but for right now, it can be a, you know, put items in sort of situation. Now, precision mechanisms we have made, it is running off of some excess gold, but I can also keep a certain amount of gold always in stock as well. And the way that we need to do this is by using a crushing wheel. So I added another crushing wheel module up here, and this one is dedicated just for anything that needs to be crushed in a recipe. So if it needs to be dropped in here, it will go in, get completely picked up, and then be sent every 10 seconds automatically back to normal. So there is a interesting recipe, and since we already have the modules set up for automatically processing with like the fans, we can just go ahead and make this progression. So we can actually make several different things out of it, believe it or not. But the first thing, to be able to get gold nuggets, we need to technically wash red sand. To get red sand, we've got to backtrack a little bit, and we have to crush granite. So that's another thing that we have to figure out. Or instead of crushing granite, we can crush terracotta. And terracotta is something very, very nice. Now, I definitely want to eventually make granite and have it constantly supplied in here. Very easy to do with what we have going on. But I think terracotta is going to be our best bet moving forward. So I'm going to take our clay and we need to compact it, and then we need to smelt it. We already have our clay stored inside of a chest over here that's constantly being made, and also as of right now constantly being voided. Hopefully we'll be able to fix that soon. So let's take our clay, and what we'll do is we'll link to our clay, and then from the clay, let's make sure to clear this connection actually. We want to make clay blocks. So block of clay. That is going to go in there. Then we have to add our connection and make sure it's linked to this one. And then we need to tell this where to go. Now, this is a compacting recipe. So technically, we can have it go to compacting _CA. And then we can go ahead and say, hey, keep a stack in stock. Or for right now, let's just do keep 16 in stock. And just make sure that it actually performs the operation. We should see this frog send a package out. Oh, but it kept it over here. Maybe I actually got the compacting spelled wrong. This is why sometimes it's probably better. Oh, I called it compressing. That's why. Okay. So yeah, we've seen that frog kept it over there. If you get the naming convention wrong, it is just going to build up the packages, unfortunately, over there. So let's turn this off. Let's clear the promises. And then actually set this to the correct address. And then also make sure the recipe's right. That's probably a good idea, right? It's 4 to 1. I am going to set this to 4. So this does need to be set to 16. So that way it sends nice bulk amounts. But there we go. Okay. And yeah, I can go ahead and send that. It will go ahead and resend. We'll keep a stack. No, we'll keep 16 in stock for right now. Gonna send those over, and then I gotta fix all of these packages. Here's the ones going to get compressed. Now, something I did forget to do, this actually needs to be checking this inventory right here. So we actually need this assigned here, as that's the inventory it's checking. And I've got to redo this whole thing and then add this as a connection. And after redoing that, I can now see there are 16 in stock, and I've just got to go ahead and just add them through their processes, right? We're going to add it first to take these clay blocks and turn them into terracotta, which is going to be our next one. And then we need the terracotta into red sand, which will be going to our crushing. So now to add the connection for the gold. So I'll just go ahead and now add the new connection here. And basically what we're going to say is send a stack of this, and we're looking for, give or take, like 23. So yeah, it's going to be roughly 23 out of a stack here. It's a 12% chance. So of course you take your 64 and you multiply it by 0.12, and you'll get your value, multiply that by the actual output, which is 3 of these nuggets, and so on and so forth. And we should be able to get this. So washing _CA, which is where we're sending it to the washing facility. And this one also will need a promise. I'll set it to a minute. So just a promise of a minute. If it doesn't get back anything after that minute, then we know that, yeah, we have some trouble. And I think for this, we'll just try and request a stack. It's not going to matter because it's going to automatically be processed into this. And we kind of want it to stop, I think, after that. All of these values, though, are probably going to end up changing once we get this like fully up and running. But yes, like 16 of these, this will also allow the precision mechanism to fully rush in. And then everything should be like more than fine. So now the power is shut down because I technically ran out of my power token that I had placed in there. I have a few more of them, but I do want to buy a few more. But in that time, I have managed to, well, set up most of the mall materials and have a certain amount of them crafted up so far. So far, only just keeping 16 of them each in stock, and that's for now. But the plan is to have like a stack of them in stock and then have that stack sent to another location. That way I can pull that out or sell that one, or however many I plan on doing in the future. And basically being able to pull that off and put it in a storage when needed so I can use it. Like, this is a really cool system, and all of these things are now auto crafted. So as soon as I turn the power back on and potentially buy some more, because I'm definitely out of it, this thing is fully functional, like precision mechanisms, basically the entire andesite age automated right here. After kicking the power back on by placing one more token, and you can see this is now just flying around. There's things being crafted all over the place. Also found that a little tip, you can actually fill your frog ports with another item, so that way it only has one slot to manage, and that way overflow will actually go into your other crafters, and it could speed up the crafting process a bit more. Also prevents backup from happening in here, where this may not, until a certain item is crafted, ever like get crafted again. So yeah, it'll just end up getting stuck down the line, and you don't really want that, I think, with these setups. So for right now, this is fully functional, and we now have almost all of the andesite components I could ever want basically crafted here. Like there's 9 stacks of girders. I have girders on autocraft. I can just pull a stack of girders out, it'll make more. I have andesite funnels. I can just pull any of these items out. They will regenerate themselves. It's phenomenal. Now, I think also to add to all of this, I also want granite, because this building is going to have a lot of granite in it. So having a way to autocraft this would be kind of nice, I think. And we can also send that to our crafters as well. And this is going to be a normal crafting recipe. It's going to require diorite, and it's also going to require some cobblestone. And that's basically it. So I think that is it anyways. Oh wait, no, it's diorite and quartz, right? So I'm already messing it up. We'll get rid of that and then place the quartz in there. Perfect. Then I can send it to the crafter and, well, send it to the crafter. And just like that, I can now set to have 9 stacks, for example, of granite in stock. And this should be able to more than easily keep up with that. Oh, and it's just going to send the packages over here. It's going to do a granite craft. I mean, if this one fills up and there's something else that needs to be crafted, it'll then throw it over here. Oh, this is, I'm loving this. Hey, and then to kind of wrap things up, I think, for today, I did end up migrating my clay. So the clay from this main storage here, I went ahead and set up and linked it, just like I did my cobblestone, to store it in the main system. That way I can then use the main system to request clay from our sand. So that way we're also utilizing our sand production here from that other chest. So now I should be producing significantly more clay, keeping a bit more gold in stock, and actually utilizing even more of our resources. Like, there's definitely going to be some things I know I missed, but I think as of right now, this is fantastic. And I tell you what an absolute rush, like just working on it all. Like, I don't know, setting up all of this has taken me a ton of time, and I'm not even done yet, because I still want to manage and kind of get auto crafting and stuff set up for andesite related items. We're almost ready to actually put the mall infrastructure in place. And so with that, I think today we are just about all out of time. I mean, I am pretty excited. I think next episode we can definitely start working on the building and start the decorating of this massive place. There's so much more once we get the building up and running that I can do. For example, I can add extensions into the outside of the building. Like, for example, I can add even more of the chain conveyors, but they can be on the outside that stretch across. That way they can have access to our other factory over here. And then we can also link in our power to our main house. And we can even link in and finally work out our tree farm and make it even more efficient by linking it into the main factory, having access to all of our wood types inside of a singular vault. And speaking of vaults, now that they're on autocraft and I have them set to keep 9 stacks in stock, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about item vaults for a while. So if you enjoyed today's episode and you like videos like these and you're enjoying this series, of course, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you for all of the kind comments. I cannot, like I said, thank you guys enough. And speaking of thanking, I think it's time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Dimity. Thank you so much for your amazing support in choosing to support me over in the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and literally supporting me in one of the best ways possible. And absolutely going above and beyond, you boss. Thank you so much for your amazing support. And all of you watching, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.